Hi, I'm Brad Bloom with Faith and Fitness Magazine, and I'm here today with Jason Bergstrom down in Florida and his team. So we're going to talk about Ninja today and how you can use it in ministry and in the whole faith and fitness experience. Jason, thanks for letting me come and visit you here at your gym today.
Absolutely, good to have you.
And let's just go ahead and introduce the rest of your team.
Excellent. Well, this is Ian. Hello. Nikolai, Brady, and my daughter Kylie.
Awesome. You got a lot of team here, and we're going to talk today just about what Ninja looks like in terms of the context of faith and fitness. So, Jason, go ahead and tell us how JungleGym got started.
Well, we started in my backyard, really inspired by the show American Ninja Warrior. And so my wife challenged me to build something for my son and I to train on. And so we built several obstacles, and we really didn't know what we were doing, but we had some YouTube videos and now some equipment, and we started training, and then we created a meetup, and we would do ninja training and breakfast. And so people would bring food, and we'd train for an hour, and I'd grill pancakes by the pool, plus fruit, yogurt, cinnamon rolls, whatever they brought, and that community just grew and grew. And we transitioned into this facility, and we've been open just over 4 years. So
tell us about this facility. It's what? It's
so
about 4,000 square feet.
We have just shy of 15,000 square feet, and everything in here has been hand built by a few of my boys and I, and a lot of great people that have jumped in and helped us. And we use this place as our primary purpose is building community. Ninja is lower on the priority of what we do, even though that's kind of our bread and butter. But we just love seeing people come together, and it's enabled us to have a lot of faith conversations here as well.
Nice. And I think that that's a really important concept as you're watching this video, particularly church leaders and other people that are entrepreneurs, is to keep in mind that whatever the activity is, that's really sort of the subtle thing, the lower priority. It's the ministry is what it's all about. Tell us a little bit about the ministry that goes on here, Jason.
Well, it starts with relationships with community and opportunities to talk to people and share faith through a common interest, which is fitness. Or a lot of people that we chat with don't do Ninja, but their kids do. And so they're here, and we have a lot of opportunity to connect with them, to pray for people. It just opens up doors of relationship, of opportunity. And so out of that, we've had opportunity to lead a lot of people to the Lord, and that creates just a deeper community. And so out of a lot of those relationships, we started gathering as church, and we use the gym as a meeting space, which is also a lot of fun.
Nice. And you said that back in 2020, a couple of these guys here actually took their ministry, their passion for loving God and serving others out into local parks. Guys, can you share a little bit about that?
That would be Ian and Kylie.
Cool. So I before I actually met these guys, I was part of an organization called Young Life, and so I kind of had the experience of working with high schoolers already. And so by the time I had moved back in the area, I was a flag football coach for about 3 years.
A what? I'm sorry?
Flag football coach.
Okay.
And I also helped coaching football in the springtime. And so that's kind of where I kind of met these guys, is through football. But yeah, in 2020, Kylie and I, we were making this kind of youth program for the untamed weighted side. And so on that side. And so,
and on that side is the gym.
Like the weight room.
Yeah.
And right. So we're doing a lot of strength conditioning drills with athletes. And so because I was working with flag football girls, it was really helpful that Kylie hadn't jumped in on that, because she could connect with them on a lot deeper scale than I could. But and we kind of started with 2 girls, and it kind of ended up being 1. And so I kind of had to invite some of my football boys to kind of be in the mixture of all that. And so, but yeah, in 2020, we kind of created this program, but at the same time, it kind of died out because of COVID. And
the world shut down.
Yeah, the world shut down. And it was hard, because I actually had paid for some of these guys' memberships, because I was I want them committed. I want them to know the Lord. And when we kind of figured out, hey, the gyms were shutting down, Kylie was actually the one that came up with the idea of, hey, how about we go to the parks? Like, we can go train there. My family used to do that, like park workouts.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna kind of let her talk about that.
Kylie, tell us a little bit more about how you got to a park. And I guess the one thing that everybody always asks when you say parks is, gee, don't I have to get special permission, or is the city going to get freaked out? Or so how did you navigate through all those challenges?
Well, really, we just checked with the rec center, the local rec centers, and we were able to go out there, and they just told us, like, well, I mean, nothing is happening right now, so you guys can go ahead and use the field. It was just kind of an empty field. And so, again, as Ian was saying, we wanted to continue doing things with these kids. We didn't want them to have no community, to have nothing going on. And so something that my dad had mentioned, because he's also our pastor, is that he was talking about how, man, you guys, this is a great opportunity. We have literally nothing that has to go on. All of our commitments, all of our schedules are zeroed out. We have an amazing opportunity through COVID, through this quarantine, to be outreaching to people, to be reaching people that we normally wouldn't be able to talk to. And so just with this opportunity, we decided to go ahead and meet up in the parks and continue meeting with these kids. And we're like, we're not going to charge them. It's just, we wanted to continue that community, to continue having this. We didn't know how long the quarantine was going to last. So we were just like, we're going to continue this. That once this comes back, we'll still have a program. We'll still have these kids with us. But because it was free, we're like, you know what? This is free. We want to always bring them something about Jesus.
Yeah.
And so every time we met up for a workout, either Ian or I would alternate having just a short message. We'd just find a verse through either our own personal devotions or like, hey, I think we need to talk to them about some sort of different issues. And so we'd find verses to share with them, and we'd just, hey, this is what we're about. This is the verse of the day. This is our short message. And then we'd get into training. But through that, we wanted them to continually have just a taste of what we were about and hearing about God. But they were coming to us for sports. They weren't coming to us for church. So we utilized that, and we're just like, hey, like, we're about Jesus. If you guys ever have questions about this, we always would let them know. If you guys have questions, we want to talk to you.
And I
want to
ask you a question on that, because I've worked with people that do street ministry and stuff, and the people that join in on that, a lot of times they're thinking, wow, we've got to, by next Sunday be able to say we had 4 people make decisions for Jesus, and we got them to the altar, and now they're sitting in the church pew. So I'd like to hear from all you guys about how the mentality is of just really being human, being natural with people. And then I'm really particularly curious, since they knew you were Christian, at some point did they say, hey man, I got to talk to you about my girlfriend or my parents or my job loss or my drug use or whatever?
Right.
How about you guys? You got any experiences you can share?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really funny you mentioned, we would always have questions about like our personal struggles and our personal issues, and Kylie and Ian were always there to be role models, but also to be like mentors to us, and they would always like use their knowledge about God and use their faith to really explain to us kind of like how to go about it, and it really just started planting seeds as we would do devotionals before our workouts and stuff, because at first I was not going because I wanted to know more about God. I was going because I wanted to build my physical stature, but they were also growing us in wisdom, whether we knew it or not. And so, yeah, I mean, they were always personal mentors. And one thing that I always liked so much about both Ian and Kylie is like, it wasn't the mentality of like we need to baptize somebody or somebody needs to come to know Christ. Their mentality more was, we need to build relationships with them. We need to build trust and love with them and be their friend, and continue to pray for them. And through that, that we really just saw God work.
So let me, I guess I assumed, and I need to better understand now, you're part of the team now, but at that point, you were actually one of the people just showing up.
Correct.
All right. And I'm curious, because, like the number one thing that leaders, business owners, church pastors, all these people always say to me when they're talking about, how much ministry to do with fitness is, well, I don't want to beat them over the head with my Bible. Did you ever get that experience as you did this? And how did it all play out for you?
I mean, if I ever got like.
Did it weird you out? Did it gross you out? That they were
Yeah,
just sort of shoving
yeah.
it
I
down
mean,
your throat?
well, the first time I came up to Ian and I came up to him with an issue that I was having, and he asked if he could pray for me, and so at first I was very like hesitant, but I felt bad for saying no. So yes, he did. I did say yes, and he prayed for me, and I was like, oh, I didn't know like right now, and so I'm like looking up and looking around to make sure no one's watching and stuff. But so yeah, I mean, at first it was a little weird for me, but I knew it was just out of love. So
he'd already built a little relationship to where it wasn't like, hey, dude, back off.
correct.
All right. And how about you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this was very effective because working out was always a very, familiar thing to me. I played football for most of my childhood. Working out's just a part of that. I was a long work in progress. Coach, he was coming around my high school, like our football practices for a long time, a very long time. And I really wasn't interested, to be honest. I mean, not even slightly, but he really
Interested in God.
No, not at all. I wasn't.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I gave him the cold shoulder so many times. But the thing is, once I started coming here, I started working out with them. And I think the reason it was so effective was because working out was so familiar to me, and I had a community now. Outside of a football team, I had a real community, and then that eventually led to I trust these people. These are people I can trust. So other than just working out with them, it then became, hey, these aren't just my workout partners, these are my friends. The Bible, I never felt like was shoved in my face. It was very much, it was kind of like a deal where, Bible verse beforehand, and we're going to pray together. And to be honest, at this point, once I started coming to the gym, I'd been open to it just because of my relationship that I'd built with Ian once he started coming around. So once I came around, I was a little more open to it. And then once I just figured out that this was about a lot more than just working out, and then once I kind of received that love and I kind of felt like true friendship for the first time, that's kind of that's really where things started really turning around for me.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Well, Ian, I got to ask you a question then, because he just said, I gave him the cold shoulder. Yep. And again, I think a lot of times Christians that are doing fitness and they have a passion for sharing God with others, but they're like, oh, gee, that just was not received. So talk a little bit about the persistence that you feel and how you went about doing that. You don't want to be too overbearing, and yet you want to not just totally back off and not do it at all.
Yeah, well, my parents always taught me true failure was never trying. If you only truly failed if you never tried, but if you did try and you failed well. And to me, that was always something that I always kind of stuck with. So even if people had given me the cold shoulder, that was just kind of the mentality to keep going. I never wanted to kind of just say, oh man, that was really discouraging and stop. I remember there was a prayer night, and that is when Jason told everybody that this is the time to make an impact. And that really stuck with me. And because when I was younger, when I was these guys' age, I kind of wish I had a mentor like that someone came into my life, because my parents weren't really around. And so it was either I needed to figure out things for myself, or I was always looking for bad advice, And so that's kind of what I wanted to be for them. And so, but yeah, it was hard. I mean, there was a lot of perseverance during that time, a lot of discouragement, but that's why you have to pray.
So Jason, let's talk a little bit more about Ninja.
Yeah.
And just the type of people that attracts, what we're going to see here in a little bit when this place really gets up and running here in just a few minutes. How does that work for ministry?
Yeah, Ninja's a very unique sport in that it lends to drawing people together. When I was in high school sports, wrestling especially, there was no love for the other school. we'd be there with our hoodies. Of course, we were angry because we had been cutting weight, and we'd give them sideways glances, and it was the mindset of, I'm about to destroy you, or at least I hope I do. Especially, I'm on the mat, and me and you in a singlet, and the girls from school are watching, my mom's here, I gotta destroy you. And there was no cheering of the other team. Ninja's the opposite. It's very community-based, and so when we go to competitions, one of the coolest parts is seeing your friends. It feels more like a family reunion than a competition, and there is absolute encouragement of your opponent who might beat you. In the same time, you're on the sideline yelling telling him what to do in order to overcome the obstacle. And so there's no trash talking, there's no cutting each other down. It's very encouraging. So that's a perfect environment to work to build community. It just naturally lends to that. And because it's community based, we have people that come to the gym because they're training to be the best in the world. We also have people that come into those same trainings and they're not even sure if they're going to train that night, but they just wanted to be with their people. Or they come because, hey, I'm not training, but it's my birthday and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And so that really is something that's very cool for me to see, is just people coming together in the way we envisioned they would from the beginning.
Now, I want to ask you, this is the church building also, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I haven't asked you where the altar or the pews are or anything yet, but I'm joking. But I got to imagine that somebody misses it for the 17th time and they're getting a little irritated and they let it show. They get a little pissed, or they fall and they get hurt and they're bleeding and they maybe let out a word or two. How does all that work?
We haven't had that happen too much. People tend, because it's a very encouraging environment, usually when we fail, it's when we're pushing our limits. And so we know we're going to fail. There's that attitude of, I know it's going to take a lot of tries to accomplish this. And there's kind of joy in the journey of pushing each other, of pushing ourselves, and falling is just part of the process. And so I've seen people get angry in a competition when they didn't do well, but even that's a little more rare. There's that disappointment, but there's a lot of love and encouragement around you as well. Same thing in training. If you fail, like we have a whole Instagram for the fails, and so some people want to make it onto Jungle Gym Oof because that's kind of fun to have a good fail, and we just enjoy it all, the failures, the successes, and we journey together through those things.
And by and large, every day, today it is a weekday.
Yeah.
It's church, even though it's not really church, because you guys are working out the friendship, the instruction, all of it.
Yeah.
Why even do church on Sunday, and how does it look different?
Well, one thing we say a lot is church is not a place we go, but it's a people we are. And so it benefits us that we don't actually have a church building, because that people can't view that as that's my church as in location. And the other thing is we're able to, rather than resources from from giving going into a facility or staff, we give away almost everything that comes in as a church. And so we set up giving projects, but the way it looks different on Sunday, I mean, it's the similarities, it's very community based, very encouraging. The difference is we sing, so we don't sing together during a night of ninja training, and we don't have a message, and we're not breaking into groups to share scripture and pray. But in open gym, there's faith conversation, there's opportunities to pray for people. And
so how many of you guys go to the church here?
All of us.
All of you. Okay. And so tell me a little bit about how you dial your brain a little different, or how has church taken the ninja experience to another level for you? Any of you?
I would say it's not too much different. Just because like the people that we are around, and we're also in the same place. So really the only difference is that we're we're going through scripture together and we are singing together. But I mean, really, it's not so much different because we're always like around like the people that we love and we care about, and that also love and care about us. And honestly, like we're in community, like whether we're doing Ninja, or we're at church or we're doing church on Sunday. So
Anybody else? What's church like for you? How have you taken who you are to a whole new level because of going to church?
I think I just look at the lens of just loving God and loving people. It's just that if you just keep those commandments, it's just, you're kind of just living straight and narrow. I coach on the untamed side, so it's just like, that's just a mentality I've been having, was let's not make these guys fitter, but at the same time, let me be a good part of their lives. Let me be something that's different for them as I once was for these guys. And so, yeah.
And how much is church actually looking for somebody to invite that has no clue at all, just to sort of experience the fellowship?
Really, I mean, I guess looking at our church, we always want to be inviting people in. I mean, that is a part of, like, when people are here for open gym, those who are part of our church and just love to train here too, they're constantly, like, when new people come in, they're like, oh, you should come on Sunday. Like, it's Ninja Church. This is where we go. So really for us, I mean, a lot of the time we are in a similar community, which can be a challenge because then we're all reaching the same people. But I mean, really all the people that we interact with and meet, it's generally speaking, we're trying to bring them in because we're just like, hey, like, this is our community, this is our family. We want you guys to be a part of it. And really, I think that when you're talking about the difference between how does it feel different to be training versus going to church, like my dad was saying, the big difference obviously is that we structure it like church. We have worship, we have a message, or we're doing a prayer journey, but the community aspect feels very similar because in here we have that encouraging community that we're really, even when we're training, we're building each other up. If someone falls and gets an injury, people are stopping and like, oh, let me pray for you, because that's the community that we're cultivating in here, is we're cultivating that community of prayer and of focusing on that. So even people who come in and don't know God, like if they have a question or they've been burdened by something in their life, they know who to go to. They know that a lot of the coaches go to the church and they are like, hey, like people will seek out my dad all the time, or any of the other coaches who go to our church and like, hey, like I've been going through this, I'm struggling a lot. Can I talk to you about it? Can you pray for me? Even at my own training, like whether it's here at another gym, I've had friends come up to me and be like, hey, like I'm going through a really rough time, can you pray for me? Because we're trying to constantly let people know, like, I will pray for you. We want that to be a part of who we are as a people, not just part of our Sunday experience.
And you work with people in the weight room more specifically?
Yeah, I mean, more so like I'm in the weight room, I'm more of like a student, just going when I can. I love to go like on open gyms or but really it all, really they do all the teaching, and they taught me a lot, I guess, like physically. But as far as like a spiritual, journey, I think the the church aspect of it itself, I think the community, it really opened up room for relationship with God, and I gotta say it really opened up room for not only for myself and my heart to be fixed, but also the lens that I saw things through to be fixed, so, and I think, coming here, one big part of it is, like being that we were all once on the outside kind of looking in, and I know I held things that other people didn't see. It makes me wonder, as for like new people coming in, they come in carrying things that we don't see, and so, I guess really, seeing that and having love for those people and reaching out to those people is something that really like lays on my heart. So, but
nice. Yeah, no, it's all about being others minded. So that's good. Being able to realize that everybody coming in here has deeper needs than just wanting to have fun and exercise. They want to do something. Jason, where do you see this going in the future? What's the next step for you? Where do you feel God's sort of pushing you that maybe is a challenge for you? Like, boy, that's going to be tough.
Well, we want to see the community continue to grow. Church-wise, we're pushing into people opening their homes on a greater level, and we view that this community groups as the front door into the church. And so really building up leaders and challenging them to find who they're called to reach and equipping them to reach those people, make disciples, create community. And so that's how we see things growing.
Nice. And so I'm with Jason Bergstrom at JungleGym it's called Pinellas Park,
Pinellas Park.
Florida. And go ahead and give us the web address for it.
JungleGym.ninja. It's our website, our Instagram, and our Facebook page.
JungleGym.ninja.
.ninja.
All right, cool. And if people are doing a Florida vacation, can they stop by and visit?
Yeah, they'd want to check in with us first because schedule-wise it's pretty tight. But yeah, they can come in and set up a private lesson. We might be able to squeeze in some kids' classes. They're pretty full, but there's always we might be able to find some room. And adult classes, yeah, we've got availability. So yeah, lots of fun, lots going on. But yeah, come on down. We'd love for you to come and visit us.